Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to be checking out the KingTone Blues Power pedal. So before we start diving into this pedal, I want to quickly shout out Mass Street Music, which is my local high-end gear store here in Kansas City. It's about 40 minutes away in Lawrence. They have unbelievable gear. So there'll be a link down in the description below to Mass Street Music where you can buy this pedal from them. They have an unbelievable pedal selection, guitar selection, great amp room, and their customer service is bar none. So definitely check them out and check out the links below where you can look at not only this Blues Power pedal but other KingTone and several other manufacturers of really high-end guitar pedals. So on KingTone's website, we're going to read their description of the Blues Power pedal. Now, they don't mention this on the website, but in my opinion, this pedal is the absolute greatest Super Reverb pedal. It gets you all of the, blackface Super Reverb, cranked, clean, driven, with a green, very familiar pedal in front of it. This nails that sound better than any other pedal that I've played. They don't really market it as that, but that's something that both myself and several other people have said about this pedal specifically. So let's read their description. So the Blues Power, with its dual clipping stages, produces a full range, stunning smooth boost and overdrive with responsive bass and treble controls, wide range drive control, internal switches for middle frequency adjustments, and volume control with enough output to drive even the most stubborn tube amp. The Blues Power is a true transparent overdrive. It is capable of boosting or overdriving the full frequency range. It is ideal for fattening and lifting the volume of fuzz pedals, which can sound thin when boosting with other overdrives. Go from glassy, tube, amp-like overdrive to dark and powerful lead tones. This pedal is the perfect teammate with the Duelist, beautifully made inside and out. Okay, so they're kind of marketing this as a transparent overdrive. And I would say that that's fairly true. And I can hear, the clean sound, and we'll get to the demo here in a second. You'll be able to just hear this very familiar mid-range that never goes away because that's just the sound of this amp. And I think that's where the true transparency comes through. It's not hi-fi sounding, which some transparent drive pedals can sound a little too hi-fi, kind of boosting all of the frequency ranges, and it can kind of take your tone into a different place. However, this does it in a really musical way, and I think it's the mid-range. There's a real clarity there that is, just speaks to how this pedal was designed and manufactured with really high quality components, but also it gives you a really true sound. So you're never going to be lacking that mid-range that is, where the guitar sits in the frequency spectrum. That's going to be the familiar thing no matter where you have this pedal set. However, what it's going to give you is really amp-like, specifically in my opinion, a Super Reverb-like overdrive and response. It does those SRV, Matt Schofield, Philip Sayce Strat sounds really well. And that's another thing that's not mentioned on the website, but this was very much built with the Strat in mind. You can just hear it even when I play it with humbuckers. You can hear that it just wants to be a Strat into a Super Reverb. The internal dip switches are really powerful for the mid-range, and I would play around with those after you get this pedal to see what's going to be the most familiar to you and probably what's going to make this more transparent. I find that the stock setting is great, but there's some pretty powerful mid-sculpting there that you can do if you want a little bit chewier or if you want a little bit more pokey sound. And it just really depends on what does your amp sound like with this pedal off. That's how I would recommend kind of deciding on sculpting the mid-range internally on this pedal. And lastly, this pedal is really loud. I know we just read that in the description, but let me tell you, it is a loud pedal. So just be mindful of that as you're changing the three-way switch on the top of the pedal. That's going to change where that volume knob should be. And as we're going to hear in some of these recommended settings, even from the website, always remember that the volume is going to be wherever you need it to be. And that just depends on the headroom of your amp, how loud you're playing the amp, the room that you're in, you know, all these variables. Volume obviously is going to be something that you're going to need to tailor. And let me tell you, you've got plenty of volume on tap. So if you want to just drive the front end of your amp really hard, even this Dumble style 100 watt overdrive special, it is got a really high headroom, but I can drive this amp with this pedal, I mean, perfectly fine. Probably better than a lot of the other drives that I love and that I own. They just don't have the clean volume on tap within the pedal to really hit the front end, which is a different sound, but it's a sound that I think is really cool to have. So here we are with the KingTone Blues Power pedal, and we're going to be using the 6 recommended settings that are on the KingTone website. We're going to use those as starting places just to check this pedal out and hear how it sounds. Today I'm playing my Party Smith Swamp Ash Special into my Smart Bell. It's an ODS style Dumble head into the Little John Cabs prototype number 1, loaded with EVM 12Ls, mic'd with a Shure SM57. Here is my clean tone on the neck pickup. All right, and so we're going to start with the cleanest of the preset, you know, recommended settings, and then work our way up in gain. So the first one they call transparent boost. Now, if you'll notice, this must have been maybe an earlier version where they called the toggle switch here something slightly different. So on the website, on these preset settings, it says glass, stock, and edge. But you can see here on the pedal it says glass, warm, and edge. I'm sure that there's nothing different really about this pedal other than just that name. They called it something different rather than stock. Okay, so we're going to start in the stock position in what they call the transparent boost. So I have this set up here where drive is very much down, not quite off. Bass and treble are at noon, and volume is also at noon. So this is going to be our first starting place, the transparent boost. That's actually pretty transparent. I was not expecting that to be very transparent at all after just messing with this pedal just a little bit at the shop at Mass Street Music when I first played it, and then also when I have taken it home. That's pretty good transparent boost there. Definitely there's kind of a cut in the low end, and then we've got a mid little bit of a push there, but that's a good boosted clean tone sound. All right, so let's just kind of leave everything where it's at, and let's just increase the gain a little bit. This is a good starting place to kind of just see what kind of gain is on tap in this warm position. It's a good kind of chewy Fender sound. Crank this up a little bit more. It's a good chewy Fender kind of sound in the stock position. Let's move on to the next recommended setting. This one they call glassy clean. So we're going to take the gain. Let's see here. Yeah, they've got it, you know, just above 9 o'clock. So we're going to cut a little bit of bass, and we're going to be pushing the treble all the way up and putting it in the glass setting. Cut some of the volume. Let's hear what this sounds like. Reference KingTone here. Definitely glassy, a lot of high-end presence there. I would probably back some of this treble off. It's a bright sound. I don't typically play that bright of sounds. However, it works. It's pretty musical. Backing that treble off just a little bit with this guitar and this amp, I think makes that setting work a lot better. So now let's kind of go up the line a little bit in gain for the recommended setting. So this they call SRV to be lead. So we're gonna leave the gain about where it's at, maybe push it a little bit, and we're going to be in the edge setting, and all I did was really push the gain a little bit and back off a little bit of the treble. That's about all that I did. So let's listen to what this sounds like. Clean reference tone here, and I'm in the single coil mode now. Pretty loud. I'm going to take the volume down just a little bit. That's nice and chewy. That's definitely that SRV territory right there. It's almost that instant, chewy, very pokey. You know, it's still got a lot of transient response there, but it's got that just enough drive, you know, where you dig in and you're kind of feeling that sponginess a little bit. If you pick light, and that's in the humbucker mode, so it's driving it just a little bit more, but I mean, it is that Stevie sound. You know, when you're picking light, it's very sterile. It's really revealing of everything, but all the notes are just ringing out very in front, you know, of the mix there. And, you know, this is just a guitar, but you can hear they're just poking out really forward in that mid-range. That's a great setting right there. You know, that sounds like not only Stevie's, you know, screamer sound, but it's also like the sound of his amps. You know, like I said before, this pedal is really like a Super Reverb cranked, and different, you know, versions of Super Reverbs over the years and the way people have pushed them and used them. That's really what I hear in this pedal. So let's move up just a little bit in gain. And the third one we're going to do is the Mimic TS-808 tone. Okay, so this is going to be cutting significant bass, and we're going to cut the treble just a little bit. So I think this is going to be, you know, obviously more of a mid-range hump. We're cutting both bass and treble. And we're going to be pushing the drive past noon. And let's see, we're going to be in the warm setting or stock setting, you know, depending on whether you're looking at the sheet here or the pedal that's right in front of me. Here's the clean tone. That's definitely TS-808 in my mind. That was the neck pickup and then the neck and middle. Let's go to just the bridge here. That is a great TS-808 sound. I think it's what we have in our minds, you know, depending on what tube screamer that maybe you either first heard or what you associate with a tube screamer. You know, they've been used on so many different things that's kind of, there's a sound and there's so many different versions of that tube screamer sound that everybody has in their head. But this, to me, this is what I think of when I think of a tube screamer. You know, it's a TS-808 with the square button, and it's this sound, it's this mid-range, and just the amount of clean signal that I think is blended in just to a standard tube screamer sound. That's something that's like, some of them nail and some of them don't, as far as screamer clones. And this is definitely not a screamer clone, but it can do that, and that's amazing. That's the perfect amount of gain for a screamer in my mind as well. All right, so let's keep moving on up in the gain. So now we're going to be looking at what they call the fat modern lead tone. Okay, so we're going to be cranking the drive quite a bit, not quite all the way up. We're going to be in the edge setting, and we're going to be cranking the bass. And let's see, cutting treble significantly. So let's go back to our clean tone. We'll go back to humbucker mode here. Wow, that's a lot of low end. Let's go to the bridge pickup here. That's a really modern sound, and that's amazing. You know, just turning the bass up on this pedal, you get a lot of impact on the low end. It's not flubbing out. Part of that is to do with these just, you know, really high wattage speakers that they're handling it, but you get a lot of attack. There's a big thump, you know, as soon as you pick anything heavy, even on the bridge pickup. To me, it just kind of puts me in this swampy, real behind the beat mode. That's a great sound right there. That's the fat modern lead tone. Let's just hear it real quick with the single coil mode. That's a pretty good modern, you know, blues tone. Even with the single coil mode, it definitely gets more scoopy, but it's, you know, still pretty forward. I would think that maybe you might want to turn up the treble just a little bit to cut through the mix a little bit more. Like even that was just enough to my ears to where it's going to poke through enough in the mid-range. All right, so let's look at the last kind of recommended settings here. This is what they call the fuzz lead tone. So we're maxing out the drive, maxing out the bass, bringing the treble back down, and we're going to back the volume off, and we're going to be in the stock or warm setting this time. Here's the clean tone. It's fuzzy for sure. I mean, I wouldn't expect for this to be a fuzz pedal anyways, but that's, you can kind of hear under maybe some of the rumbling of the low end, you can hear it's got a fuzzy response. Let's see what cranking the treble up a little bit and taking it to the edge setting does. That's definitely fuzzy. It's a cool, inspiring sound. I would think that it would struggle to cut through the mix again, but it is a great sound, and you know, you're gonna write something that's gonna play well with that sound anyway. So, but that's a surprising sound from this pedal. You know, to be able to capture a lot of those tube screamer sounds, and you know, a kind of a super reverb blowing up is definitely something along the lines of what a lot of fuzz pedals try to accomplish. But this is kind of surprising coming out of this pedal. So lastly, you know, let's just kind of play around with the sounds real quick in each setting, and we'll start here with the glass setting, and let's kind of keep everything at noon, and then we will do the mix settings of everything at 2 o'clock and see what that does for us. We're going to stay in humbucker mode here. We'll go to warm setting. And then the edge setting. It's a great pedal. This is, you know, the classic blues sound. Everything, you know, from SRV up to, you know, more of a modern player, maybe like a Matt Schofield. That's kind of the stuff that I'm hearing here. I think this pedal is made for a Stratocaster. This is not a Strat. The humbucker sounds sound really great through it, but I think it really comes alive with some single coils. That's really what I'm hearing from this pedal, and that's what you would expect from a pedal that's kind of geared towards the sounds that this pedal is geared towards, i.e. a, you know, Super Reverb. That's definitely, you know, a 60 Strat through a 60 Super Reverb. This is going to give you those sounds that you have in your head when you think about, you know, that amp and that guitar. Thanks for checking out today's video on the KingTone Blues Power. If you're looking for that Strat into a cranked Super Reverb sound, this is definitely your pedal. It's going to cover all of that early Stevie stuff all the way up to modern players. It's just perfectly named. I mean, it's got all of the blues sounds just right there at your fingertips. It's really powerful EQ. And if you're looking to check out this pedal or any of the KingTone lineup, check the link in the description below and visit Mass Street Music. You can look on their website to see what they have in stock, but I would also encourage you to give them a call because they are gearheads just like you and I and know and love all of the gear that they have at that store. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, please like and subscribe to this new channel, share it with your friends and other gearheads like myself. And until next time, I've been Colin. Okay. What? So, okay. Okay. First, let's just talk. If this is everything again, good God. Okay. All right. Really paying attention okay. And that's something that you're gonna want to